So, why did you click on this video? Answer this question honestly. What I did there was practice a skill which I am about to teach you in this video, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important skills to learn when it comes to self-improvement as well as life in general. Not learning this skill has costed me things like my time, my growth, and even my happiness. And I know that it could cost you the same things if you don't learn this skill, so make sure to stick around. We live in a world full of information, and do you know what that does to our brains? It seeps our focus little by little until we have none left, which is why it is really easy for us to become mindless of our surroundings as well as ourselves, which in turn leads us to neglect almost every aspect of our lives, like our thoughts, our emotions, our mental and physical health, as well as our relationships with other people. In my opinion, these are really important things to be mindful of, and what I am about to teach you is something that will really help when it comes to this problem. This might sound simple when you hear it, but it's much more complicated than you think. But hear me out. Now, the skill that I want you to learn today is the skill of observing. It sounds simple, right? Well, it is easier said than done. This skill takes lots of practice, and I think that it is something that people overlook so easily. To observe is like listening instead of hearing, or seeing instead of just looking. I hope you get my idea. It's the extra thought we put into whatever it is that we are doing or thinking. It gives you this extra bit of information that you could use to make decisions or make changes in your life. Also, to add to that, learning this skill doesn't make you ignorant of what's going on around you as well as within you, which I believe is important because I'll always emphasize this point. You cannot change or control something that you aren't aware of. Ignorance also comes in this case, because how could you change or control something that you don't even know exists? This is where observing comes into play, because observing gives you the awareness that you need in order to change or control something. Without this skill, you would be going in blind and clueless when it comes to life in general. Let me give you an example for you to understand this advice a little better. I want you to observe yourself when it comes to your thoughts, your feelings, how you behave, as well as how you react or respond to certain things, what makes you tick, what makes you feel happy and sad. Learning to observe gives you knowledge. Sure, knowledge is useless if you don't know what to do with it, but do you know what is worse? It is having no knowledge at all. This advice doesn't just apply to yourself, but it also applies to your surroundings as well as the people around you. These things are so important to understand, and it would end up hurting you if you don't understand these things to some extent. It has gotten so dark in my room yesterday, which is why I just decided to record this the next day. Anyways, whether it may be trying to understand how relationships work or how your thoughts and feelings work, it is a really useful skill to learn when it comes to learning about these things. Now, as good as this sounds, there are some limitations when it comes to the skill of observing. Information in itself is good, but too much information is bad. I believe that there are things that you must observe and things that are better left alone. If you want to learn about something, sure, go ahead, learn to observe that thing, but if it is not one of your current priorities, leave it alone for a bit. Observing things that are not your priority just leads to unnecessary or unneeded information going into your mind. And this leads to the problem of overthinking, which is a topic for another video. I think that this is the reason why the statement, ignorance is bliss, exists on the internet. It is because there are just some things better left unknown. This is a problem I personally struggle with, maybe because I just observe too much, which is ironically one of my current observations when it comes to myself. So when it comes to this skill, I think that it is a skill that every self-improvement YouTuber has, but it's a skill rarely talked about, even though it's what they use to come up with advice that they share. It is a skill that I use to come up with advice that I share with you guys, and I hope that in learning this skill, you could use it for your own benefit as well. Now, if you made it to this part of the video, as always, thank you, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Mar, and I post self-improvement videos just like this one every Saturdays. The goal I had in mind for this channel is 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and any help towards that goal is something that I will always appreciate, together with your likes as well as your comments and even just reviews. To be honest, in my many hours in the platform, I haven't seen any YouTuber talk about this skill that I just talked about, and I hope that you learned something new. Now, that is all for me. Thank you guys for watching, and you got this, guys. Why is it a thing for self-improvement YouTubers to kiss their camera or their audience by the end of the video? Maybe it's just a self-improvement thing, so I'll give it a shot. Anyways, see you guys next week. Mwah!